Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
We're just gonna wait a couple more minutes, and then we'll get started. Also, welcome to the new people. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. Okay, I think we can get started. Okay, so welcome everyone to this webinar today on the new user types. My name is Jim from the marketing team here at Esri Belux, and we have Gijs with us today as well, who prepared a nice presentation for you. The only thing I want to add is that you have a Q&A section. Just a second. There is a Q&A section at the top of the screen. So we ask you, if you have any questions, please use this Q&A section instead of the chat, because the chat can be a bit unorganized. And the Q&A section, we can really reply to your question. We will do our best to answer all questions. Normally there is some time afterwards as well, where Gijs will go over your questions. If there are questions that are unanswered, we will definitely get back to you afterwards via email. So Gijs, I think you can get started now.
Okay, thank you, Jim. So yeah, welcome everybody to our webinar. My name is Gijs, and I work at the support department of Esri Belux. Today we're going to discuss user types, and more specifically the updates that will be introduced this year. Let's have a look at our agenda for today. So we will start with an extensive overview of user types and the updates we can expect this year. Then we will briefly touch the topic of the ArcGIS desktop migration to ArcGIS Pro. Then, to make these two topics more concrete, we will also show you some possible scenarios. And then at the end of the webinar, we will provide some time for you to ask your questions. As Jim already indicated, you can ask your questions in the Q&A button or via the Q&A button in the Teams webinar interface. So you can ask your questions during the webinar and also at the end. So let's start with the user types. Some of you might not be familiar yet with this concept, so we will first have a closer look at what it actually does and enables. Basically, user types provide three big things. First of all, you will have an identity. This means that you will have a unique username and a password. So actually a user type is an account. Then a user type also provides capabilities. This is something that you will need in order to view or edit, create, analyze, and share your maps, apps, and other content. And then, of course, user types will also give you access to apps, extensions, and content. The apps and extensions are products that you can use with ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Enterprise, and ArcGIS Pro in order to extend their capabilities. And then the content will be data that is curated by Esri. So in the previous slide, we saw that the user type can have 5 different capabilities. The first capability is to view content that is shared with you. This can be done on different types of devices and also on different applications. A second capability is to edit content that is shared with you. And there are almost no limits to where you can edit when you have the editing capability. For instance, you can edit in an application that was developed with ArcGIS Maps SDK for JavaScript, or you can edit in low and no-code applications like, for instance, ArcGIS Experience Builder or Instant Apps. You can also edit in our foundational products like ArcGIS Map Viewer and Scene Viewer. And in the near future, it will also be possible to edit in a new application that will be released later this year, which is called Web Editor. A third type of capability that is available with user types is the creation of maps and apps. You can also analyze your data. At Esri, we have a lot of analysis tools that can help you learn more about your data. And then finally, you can also share and collaborate. And this means you can easily share your maps, your apps, and other content with anyone, anywhere. As we can see on the left side of the slide, those 5 capabilities will not only be accessible on your desktop, but also on the web by using a web browser and on your mobile device. This is possible thanks to the ArcGIS platform that you're using. And this ArcGIS platform can either be ArcGIS Online, which is hosted by Esri, or ArcGIS Enterprise, which is deployed on an environment that the customer provides him or herself. This can, for instance, be a cloud environment like AWS or Microsoft Azure, or an on-premises deployment. Now let's talk about the update. So this year in 2024, Esri will introduce important updates regarding the user types. These updates, they will have several important benefits. First of all, you will have a more simplified and streamlined administration because all your capabilities, apps, and content that you might have purchased and provisioned separately in the past, you can now these capabilities, they can be included in your user types. So you will have a better overview as an administrator. Secondly, the updated user types will also have more capabilities compared to the old user types. One thing that remains the same here is that you will still be able to use user roles in order to define the degree of access to the capabilities to your apps and content. Next, you will have a comprehensive access to capabilities in multiple products on your desktop, on your mobile device, and also in web browser. So it doesn't matter if you are in the office or if you are working on the field. And finally, organizations will also be able to scale very easily when they grow, because you can easily add new user types to your ArcGIS organization, and because you can expand the capabilities of existing user types. Now, when will you have access to these updated user types? Esri will start quoting the updated user types on the next release of ArcGIS Online. So currently this date is set to the 12th of June. The actual release of the updated user type, so the moment on which they will be available in your organization, depends on the platform you are using. So in ArcGIS Online, the updated user types will be available in your organization on the same day as the next release of ArcGIS Online, which is planned in June. On the other hand, for ArcGIS Enterprise, the updated user types will only be available in November later this year with the release of ArcGIS Enterprise 11.4. So this means that people who are using ArcGIS Online or are planning to upgrade to ArcGIS Enterprise 11.4 will be able to see these updated user types in their organization. Now let's have a look at the current situation and the changes we can expect this year. Currently, there are 7 user types. We have the viewer at the bottom of the list, who is able to view content in ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise. Then we have the editor, who can view and edit features. The mobile worker, he or she can they can view and edit features, and they're also able to do this in the ArcGIS field apps on a mobile device. Then we have the creator. The creator can not only view and edit features, but can also create content. Then we have the GIS professional user type, which is basically a creator user type that also has access to ArcGIS Pro. There are several levels of the GIS professional user types. These levels are based on the license level in ArcGIS Pro, which can be basic, standard, or advanced. Now, this year in 2024, we will see some important changes with the user type updates. For instance, the contributor user type will replace the editor and will also have more capabilities, like, for instance, markup and annotations in maps. Then the creator and GIS professional basic user types will migrate into the same new creator user type. This new creator user type will now also include ArcGIS Pro basic license. So creators can now decide when they want to work or where they want to work, either on their desktop or on the web. And then the GIS professional standard user type will be replaced by the professional user type. Apart from the creator capabilities and the access to ArcGIS Pro standard, this professional user type will also have access to the new advanced editing user type extension. For your information, this advanced editing user type extension was introduced last year and actually replaces the ArcGIS utility network, trace network, and parcel fabric user type extensions. And finally, the GIS Professional Advanced will be replaced by the Professional Plus. It includes everything from the new professional user type. It also has access to ArcGIS Pro Advanced. And last but not least, it also includes ArcGIS Pro extensions and access to City Engine. So now there are 6 instead of 7 user types. And when we have a look at all of these 6 user types, you can see that from left to right, or from viewer to professional plus, that there is an increase in capabilities and access to products. The most important updates that we would like to emphasize on this slide are the fact that a creator will now have access to an ArcGIS Pro basic license, which was not the case with the old creator user type. A professional user type will have access to an ArcGIS Pro standard license. And a Professional Plus user type will have access to ArcGIS Pro Advanced plus multiple ArcGIS Pro extensions. And those extensions are actually basic extensions like 3D Analyst, Data Reviewer, Image Analyst, Publisher, and so on. In total, there will be 9 ArcGIS Pro extensions that will be included in the Professional Plus user type. So that is quite an important addition. Of course, there will be many more changes than that. In the following slides, we will have a closer look at all the additional apps that will be included with each of the updated user types. We have highlighted these apps in orange. For instance, in this slide, the updated viewer will now also have access to the ArcGIS Story Maps Briefings app. In the next slides, you will see that the same application is also included in the other updated user types. There you go. So the contributor will also have access to the ArcGIS Story Maps Briefings app. Apart from that, the contributor will also be able to both view and edit in ArcGIS GeoBIM, which was not the case yet in the old editor user type. When looking at the mobile worker, we see the ArcGIS Story Maps Briefings app, ArcGIS GeoBIM, but also ArcGIS Flight. And ArcGIS Flight can be used, for instance, to plan drone flights, which is actually very interesting for people who are working on the field, like a mobile worker. Then we have the creator. Compared to the user types, we just saw like the viewer, the contributor, and the mobile worker. We can see that the creator has several additional apps and products included, like ArcGIS Pro Basic, Data Pipelines, Excalibur, Knowledge Studio, Mission Manager, Web Editor, and Image for ArcGIS Online. So that is a big improvement for this creator user type. The professional. In addition to the apps that we just saw with the creator user type, we can see that the professional user type also has access to ArcGIS Pro standards and the ArcGIS Advanced Editing user type extension. And finally, the Professional Plus. This user type has access to ArcGIS Pro Advanced, multiple ArcGIS Pro extensions, and also ArcGIS City Engine. This slide shows again all the updated user types, but instead of only highlighting the new apps, this slide will also mark important apps that a user type does have compared to the user type on its left side in the table. For instance, when we look at the mobile worker, this user type has access to a lot of field apps like Field Maps, Quick Capture, Survey 123, which is not the case in the contributor user type on its left side. So you see again in this slide that from viewer to professional plus, from left to right, that you will have increasingly more access to apps. Now, when working in an ArcGIS organization, you will always need a creator or a professional plus user type. This is necessary in order to be able to create maps, apps, and other content, and also to be able to administer your organization. So therefore, we call these three user types foundational user types. In ArcGIS Online, users can choose to get started by purchasing a creator or a professional plus user type, as long as it's one of these foundational user types. In ArcGIS Enterprise, you will already have a creator user type included, but you can of course add additional user types. Apart from the foundational user types, you can also add collaborators like viewers, contributors, and mobile workers. And these collaborators, they can help you to grow your organization when you don't really need the functionality of foundational user types for your colleagues. It would be a shame to, for instance, get a creator user type for someone who will only be viewing data, and that would be an unnecessary cost that can be avoided by using a collaborator like a viewer, for instance, instead of using a foundational user type. Now let's have a look at the timeline. In June 2024, the names and pricing of the updated user types will become available. So this means that ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise customers will be quoted with updated user types and updated prices when they want to renew their contract in June. ArcGIS Online customers will automatically migrate to the updated user types on the same day as the next release of ArcGIS Online, which is in June. However, in ArcGIS Enterprise, the updated user types will only appear in version 11.4, so this will be in November 2024. So this means that all enterprise customers who renew their contract in June will receive the equivalent legacy user types instead. So this means that they will still receive the old user types, but will already receive access to the additional capabilities and apps and extensions. So for instance, if you renew your creator contract, you will still have your old creator user type, but you will also receive an ArcGIS Pro basic license. Then starting from the 1st of July, as we will no longer provide quotes for users who want to purchase additional licenses for ArcGIS Desktop, Therefore, subscription customers will be quoted by default with equivalent updated user types. So that means that they will be able to obtain ArcGIS Pro through a creator or a professional plus user type. For new ArcGIS Pro licenses, it is possible to purchase these through an equivalent user type or an ArcGIS Pro standalone license. Customers who have an existing ArcGIS desktop maintenance contract will not encounter any issues, so they will still be able to continue. Then in November of this year, as mentioned earlier, the updated user type or updated user types will also be released in the ArcGIS Enterprise version 11.4. So again, customers who have renewed their contract and are planning to work with an ArcGIS Enterprise version that is older than 11.4, let's say, for instance, version 11.2 or 11.3, they will receive legacy user types that have the same equivalency as the updated user types. A lot of things that we have discussed today can also be found on our Esri Belux website. So here you will find information on the planning, on benefits. You will also see the possibility to subscribe to the webinars we were giving this week. You will also find some information about the benefits, an overview of the different updated user types. And there will also be a user type comparison matrix. If we click on this, you will see all the added applications and extensions that will now be included in the updated user type. So they are marked in green here. So this is an interesting page if you would like to have some more information on user type updates. Apart from that, our marketing department has also sent several emails to inform you about the user type updates and also to invite you for this webinar. We will continue to inform you like this in the future in case of any important changes and updates. Okay, let's move to the next topic of this webinar, the ArcGIS Desktop to ArcGIS Pro license migration. Before we do so, maybe a little clarification. On the slide, we can see the names of both ArcGIS Desktop and ArcMap. ArcGIS Desktop is actually a package that contains 4 applications. ArcMap is one of them, but you can also have, but it will also have ArcCatalog, ArcScene, and ArcGlobe. You will see that both names are often used to indicate the same thing, and this will also be the case in this webinar. As some of you might already have seen, several ArcGIS blogs regarding the gradual outphasing of ArcMap. For instance, in February of this year, Esri has announced that ArcMap has entered mature support. And indeed, in this article, you will find more information on that. For instance, what does it mean to be in mature support status? But of course, much more information on that. And at the end of March, a second blog was released or was created. And this was regarding the licensing of ArcMap. And you will find several scenarios on how to migrate from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro. And you will also see some frequently asked questions. Again, our marketing team will also keep you updated on all the changes. For instance, earlier this year, you normally received this email encouraging you to make the switch from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro, and also to inform you about the mature support status of ArcMap. Okay, this slide shows what we can expect with ArcGIS Desktop and its migration to ArcGIS Pro. As most of you probably already know, ArcGIS Pro was released in 2015 as the next generation of ArcGIS Desktop. During the last years, Esri has been encouraging the migration from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro by, for instance, including an ArcGIS Pro named user license with an ArcGIS desktop license. Simultaneously, Esri has started to phase out ArcGIS desktop. For instance, the last release of ArcGIS desktop was in December 2021. So this means that there will not be a more recent version than 10.8.2. Also, this year on the 1st of March, as you can see on the slide, ArcGIS desktop has entered the mature support status. So this means that there will be no further product patches and updates. So that's important to keep in mind. On the 1st of July 2024, Esri will no longer provide quotes for users to purchase additional licenses for ArcGIS desktop. So this means that subscription users will be automatically quoted equivalent updated user types in order to start using ArcGIS Pro. Also keep in mind that from this date on, it will not be possible anymore to request a quote for additional concurrent use licenses. So this also applies to ArcGIS Pro. So if you want additional concurrent use licenses, you will have to reach out to us before July. Otherwise, it will not be possible anymore to request a quote. The last day of September will be the last day to order new ArcGIS desktop licenses. Keep in mind that the date of the quote that you received earlier cannot be extended to a later date. So 30 September is really the deadline. The same applies again for concurrent use licenses. You cannot order them anymore after September. Then at the 1st of December 2025, Esri will stop quoting maintenance for ArcGIS desktop. So from then on, customers who would like to have a maintenance contract will only be able to purchase a user type or migrate to a maintenance contract for an ArcGIS Pro standalone. And then on the 1st of March 2026, so 3 months later, ArcGIS desktop will reach retired support status. So this means that customers will still be able to consult the online documentation, but they will not be able to contact the support department anymore regarding technical questions on this product. Customers who have a perpetual ArcGIS desktop license, they will still be able to use it, but keep in mind that it will not be supported. So therefore, we really would recommend customers to migrate either to the equivalent updated user type or to an ArcGIS Pro standalone. And then finally, customers who had an existing concurrent use maintenance contract, they can still use these licenses in an ArcGIS Pro standalone, like an ArcGIS Pro concurrent use, for instance. However, keep in mind that it will not be possible to obtain additional concurrent use licenses. So the last chance to get concurrent use licenses will be in July and September. I would also like to add that this timeline will look different for customers in the utility sector. So in that case, be sure to contact your account manager to ask for more information. Now, let's make this a little bit more concrete and have a look at some possible scenarios. First example is an existing ArcGIS desktop annual subscription. By default, customers with this contract will be quoted an equivalent updated user type. So this will be a creator or a professional plus user type. Of course, that will depend on the ArcGIS Pro license level that you need. Another example is a customer with an existing ArcGIS desktop perpetual single-use license. This customer can choose to either use equivalent updated user types or to use an ArcGIS Pro standalone perpetual single-use license. And here I'm emphasizing single-use because in this scenario, the customer initially started with a single-use. What if you have an existing ArcGIS desktop perpetual concurrent use license? Then you will have a similar choice. You can choose to either use an equivalent updated user type or to migrate to an ArcGIS Pro standalone perpetual concurrent use license. A fourth example is a customer who wants to buy a new ArcGIS Pro. In that case, the customer can either purchase an equivalent updated user type or an ArcGIS Pro standalone perpetual license. However, this standalone license can only be a single-use license and not a new concurrent use license. As mentioned earlier, new concurrent use licenses can only be quoted until the 1st of July 2024 and can only be ordered until 30 September 2024. So that is important to keep in mind. Let's have a closer look at the second and third scenario that we just discussed on the previous slide. So what are the options when you have an ArcGIS desktop single-use maintenance contract? The first option is to go for an updated user type, and this will give you access to all of the capabilities, apps, and services that are included in that specific user type. Because you have access to more apps and more extensions, it will mean that this provides more added value, however, at a slightly higher cost. The other option is to choose an ArcGIS Pro standalone. This does not include a user type, so you will not receive the additional benefits. Instead, you will receive a similar value and a similar price compared to your initial situation. What if you have an ArcGIS desktop concurrent use maintenance contract? Well, if you are using a concurrent use license, it usually means that multiple colleagues are using this license. So in that case, option 1 would be to choose updated user types for your colleagues. That would give them access to all of the capabilities, apps, and services available through their user types. Of course, for this situation, it is necessary to first evaluate and determine if each user needs the same user type. In that way, customers can avoid to pay money for functionality that they don't really need. So it will help customers to reduce migration costs. Another option is to purchase ArcGIS Pro standalones. And this will come with a similar value and price as the initial situation, but it will not give you access to a user type. Okay, so we're almost at the end of our webinar. I would just like to say that if you have any questions about pricing, then don't hesitate to contact your account manager or to send an email to sales@sribelux.com. Okay, time for questions. I don't know, Jim, if we already have some questions in the meantime.
Well, there was only one question from Lee that you can probably see in the Q&A. That was indeed related to a concurrent use license that I answered. Maybe you can double check that I'm correct.
No, indeed, the concurrent use licenses will not be affected by the updated user types. But indeed, keep in mind that starting from the first, if you want to order new concurrent use licenses, you will have to do it before the 1st of July. Or if you want to request a quote, ordering can until the 3rd of September. Yeah.
I see two new questions that came in as well, guys.
Does a viewer need to be within my company organization, or can they be added from outside with their own Esri account? Yeah, a viewer doesn't need to be in your organization. You can share your content with people from other organizations. So no, this person doesn't need to be part of your organization. And the other question is that, so the creator is getting big improvements with the new licenses. Does the current professional basic now have less capabilities? The current professional basic. No, because there will be, maybe I can go back to the slides. It will take some time to get there, but so we are talking about the new creator user type. So a lot of these applications were not available in the creator, but also not available in the professional basic. So both the creator and the GIS professional basic are winning, or will get more functionality.
Also, one more question.
Can a mobile worker delete data collected by survey 1 to 3 for the new user type? Ah, that's actually a good question. That's something that I will have to verify. But we can get back to you after the webinar. Yeah.
Okay. No more questions, I don't think.
No, indeed.
Okay. Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Yas, for your second webinar presentation this week already on the user types. We had two good presentations in Dutch and French as well yesterday. So also there were a lot of questions asked in those webinars. So we will put all the questions and the answers on the web page. And you will also receive access to this presentation and the webinar itself, the video, in an email that will be sent out within the next couple of days, either this week still or beginning of next week. So I want to thank everyone for your time, to join us today. I hope it was clear. And yes, thank you again. Wait, I think that just one last question came in.
Yeah.
Martin.
If renewing current ArcGIS Enterprise licenses, is the work needed to upgrade the version included? It's not entirely clear to me, but so I think so. If you, for instance, have if you have an ArcGIS Enterprise contract that runs for many years, and if you didn't renew your contract, I think that's maybe the question that you mean. I think you will still have the updated user types if you migrate to 11.4, but that's something again that we will have to double check.
Also, as Gijs said before, there's a lot of case-by-case things. So if you really have a specific question regarding your organization and your license, it's best to reach out to your account manager. So keep that in mind. For the rest, as I said, all the information will be sent out to you via mail. And once again, thank you very much for joining us today. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.